What a pleasant alien world we find ourselves in. Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. We're talking Star Frontiers, we're talking aliens, but with a slightly more negative tint than before. I had actually talked way long ago about how in my campaign I wanted to create some new aliens, add a little bit of variety, flesh out what is good, what you can see in my campaign. And I had created a bunch, and I did a video called These Were My Aliens, because I added them to my campaign and got quite a lot of positive feedback from that, from the community. So I thought, well, it's only fair that I actually address the other aliens that were kind of officially created that I never went for. These were not my aliens. The flip side of the previous video I did. So when I talked about my three, or my handful of aliens, one of the ones that I addressed came in Zebulon's Guide to Frontier Space. You were given the Hummers, which I've talked about, and the Osicars and all that kind of stuff, and you were given the Ifschnits, which originally appeared as basically little, pseudo halfling dwarf type Dungeons & Dragons type guys with long, facial hair and stuff. And I thought, no, I don't want, if the Ifschnits are going to be a part of new modules coming out and stuff, I'm not going for that. I created a slightly different version because I didn't like the idea of them looking too human. So with my Ifschnits, I kind of created these guys who are very hairy, kind of based on like an owl body kind of thing, but without the wings. They're way more human and humanoid than I particularly enjoy, but I thought, no, I want to have if I have to have Ifschnits, these are going to be mine. I'm going to modify them. There were a handful of other aliens that were also presented if you want to include them, and I just turned up my nose at them. I'm like, no thank you. First example being in the Dragon magazine, issue 103, somebody came up with the Saurians. And they were a very nicely considered, thought out race. Anybody who has seen Avatar, you basically know what the Saurians are, because this was Saurians of the 80s. But I took one look at them and I'm like, why would a species that's really good at underwater stuff, why would they be humanoid? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't like the Saurians. I like the fact that we've got some new options. I like the fact that new races were being considered, but I did not like the Saurians, and I just nixed that one right away because they look humanoid. And I'm reminded of a thing. I dug through my old Star Frontiers notes, and I found this quote that I wrote down in the 80s. Carl Sagan appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and he had this long conversation about space and what would aliens look like and all that kind of stuff. And his words were so poignant. I videotaped what he had said, and then I wrote it down, and I kept this in my Star Frontiers notes forever. This is why I don't like humanoid aliens in anything, and especially didn't want them in my campaign. Hence, the Saurians were nixed right away. Carl Sagan says, "We're the result of a particular sequence with many accidental events, like when a cosmic ray would strike a gene of some fish-like ancestor and make a mutation. So many evolutionary biologists think that if you started the Earth out again, identically, nothing different, and just let the random factors like when a cosmic ray comes in change, that you might end up with beings who are as smart as we and as good at art and ethics and everything else, but nothing like humans. So imagine a different planet, different physical environment, and also a different sequence of evolutionary events. It's very unlikely they'd look like us." I loved that phrase. And thank you to Carl Sagan for exactly exemplifying to me what's wrong with aliens that look like people. And it's funny he mentioned a fish-like race because, that's what the Saurians were. I took one look at them and I was like, nope, that's out. Like the Ifschnits, nope, I'm not having any. I will accept the Ysarians because they were initial early creatures. Like they come in the rule book. They're cast in stone. They're such a major part of what the Star Frontiers identification is. You've got them in all of the artwork. You've got them on the module cover. So I'm like, okay. I may not agree with the Ysarians, but you know what? I'll allow one exception. I'll allow one humanoid race if I have to. So when I saw these Saurians, no thank you, not happening. A second alien race that was recommended. Now this one's got an interesting story to it. I read up that there was actually, and I think it was in the Dragon magazine they mentioned it, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, the Successu. Now, this is basically the Sathar. If you know Star Frontiers, the Sathar are the bad guy race, the sort of worm-like creatures that can do a bunch of stuff. They lead this attack on Volturnus, a whole bunch of stuff. But I remember reading up on the Successu and thinking, wait a minute, you're just going to copy and paste the Sathar into another race? That's a total waste of time. Forget it. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to copy another alien. But as it turns out, David Cook, also known as like David Zeb Cook, he's often referred to. He was one of the guys writing up and creating Star Frontiers in its early inception. And there was supposed to be a worm-like player character race, the Successu. That's what the fifth race was. And I had some people comment when I did my video about I hardly ever used the Sathar in my campaign. Somebody commented and said, you know, the Sathar were originally going to be a player race, right? Like they were actually not the bad guys at first. But in creating it, I think TSR realized we need a villain. We need somebody to fight against. There's too much going on here. What are we going to do? Robots all the time? So we'll take this worm race that David Zeb Cook came up with, and we'll turn them into Sathar, and they're alien and the bad guys. And I think it was a Dragon magazine, or maybe it was a forum somewhere, but somebody had said, you know what, let's take the Successu. Let's go with that original concept that David Zeb Cook had, and we will put the Successu into Star Frontiers. They will basically be the Sathar, slightly different abilities, so like maybe a connected relative race, whereas the Sathar are like yellow and brown in color. These ones are fantastic bright pink or green in color, so like neon Sathar. And I was just like, okay, no, I don't want to copy another race. And also, no, I don't want to have these neon pink and green type guys running around. No. So the Successu was never going to happen in my campaign either. Forget it. The final one that I will discuss. In the Assault on Omicron mini module that comes, if you buy the Referee Shield, it comes with a little mini module called Assault on Starship Omicron. And in there, they talk about, and I'm certain I'm going to butcher this, please, any Star Frontiers players, tell me how the right way to say it. The Zuraquar? Is that how you say that word? I'm going to call them the Zuraquar. I don't really know what the right way is. And I looked it up, or I read the description. They are a race of intelligent bipedal insects, each having small vestigial wings, 2 compound eyes, and 2 antennae. I was just like, so big houseflies. That's what. Now I've grabbed this image from the Star Frontiers wiki. I don't know how official this artwork is. I think it was used with permission, and it's sort of the only thing that's out there. If you do a search for Zuraquar, this is what you get. It's of the official, outside of the Saurians, of the sort of officially written in a TSR module point of view. I thought, okay, if there's going to be more Zuraquar, I'm going to have to handle this because I don't want giant houseflies running around in my game. That's dumb. But maybe I'll come up with a solution. Luckily, it never became a factor, so not a worry. But I remember thinking, no, we've got the Vrusks. They are our insect race, and I'm already not wild with having that. I actually, when I talked about my aliens, I did discuss how I created my own alien spider race called the Skok. And that was not my intention, but at least they don't look, they're sort of spider-ish, but they don't look like big tarantulas. They have enough of a difference in my head that I thought, okay, this is acceptable. Giant walking around houseflies, no. We're getting into B-movie territory. I don't like it. Forget it. It's not happening. So I didn't use the Zuraquar, didn't use the Successu, didn't use the Saurians. It modified the Ifschnitz, And I came up with my own insect race, even though I just said I didn't want to have an insect race. What the heck was I thinking? What I would like to know from the Star Frontiers crowd, did you handle these three in any way? Did you have Saurians? Did you even know the Saurians were written up in that Dragon magazine? Because it was sort of a issue 103 from the 80s. If you weren't collecting back then, you may not even realize there is a Saurian race. Do you want the blue people from Avatar in your campaign? Because if you do, there you go, get the Saurians. I wasn't thrilled with that. I didn't have that. Did you use the Successu? That was also written up, and it has at least a foundation in the original concept. Like, David Zeb Cook created the Successu originally. They turned into the Sathar. Did you think that would be something you would want to use? I don't know, it's up to you, right? It's all totally your campaign. You do what you like. And did you use the Zuraquar? The giant walking around houseflies? To quote the 50s movie, help me. Anyway, so just thought I'd throw together a quick Star Frontiers video. I was thinking about aliens because I was on this planet, and I remembered my aliens, and I thought, you know, there were a bunch that were created by TSR that you could have used, and you never did. These three were not my aliens. All right, until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.